morning and welcome to Haywire Homestead. So this morning I was out in the paddock and I have a doe who is due, oh goodness, I think I've said it, anytime between now and October the 7th. That's the latest due date according to the calendar, according to the last day she was exposed to a buck. I purchased her already, hopefully bred. This will be her first time freshening. So I don't really have anything to go off of in regards to how she normally would act when she's pregnant and when she's getting ready to freshen. I have one other goat who's out at the breeder who I know a little bit more about kind of how she goes because she has freshened one time. So first time fresheners are a little harder from everything that I've read since I am newer at goats. Because you don't have a history on how they kid and how they're going to behave and those kind of things. But I decided, when I was looking at her this morning, and I'm going to show you a video here.
Athena.
Her belly's dropped some. Now she still hasn't developed an udder, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything because they can develop an udder a couple of weeks, 3, even up to a month before they kid. And some of them may not develop one until either right before or even a day or two after they kid. So, it can't really go off of that. She's not very easy to catch, so I didn't get a hold of her to check her ligaments. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next video. But I decided since her belly has dropped some, which is an indication that she's kind of getting babies in position, that I would come in and go back through my kidding kit and show you guys what all I keep in it. So one thing is towels, old towels. Okay, I keep a stack of those. Most of the time, especially for our goats, they're going to kid in the cold months. So typically December, January, February, because we raise meat goats. That's typically when most people will have them kid. Part of that is for our times in fair, for the babies to be eligible to be shown as market projects. So some of the things in here I'm actually probably not going to need for this doe and her kids because it's not that cold yet. But towels definitely, I can help dry them off. I can wipe their noses, those kind of things. I also have a old blow dryer that I picked up at the Salvation Army. I can take a towel or a blanket and make a tent around the baby if it's really, really cold outside, and I can blow dry them dry. Because once they're dry, they should be fine, shouldn't have any problems when we have extreme weather. But some of the typical things that you're going to want to have is very simple. You're going to want to have a bottle of iodine. Iodine, you're going to dip the cord in the iodine to keep them from getting navel, I think it's called navel ill, any infection or any bacteria in that. You're going to want to dip it a couple of times until it dries up. You just use simple iodine. Nutri-Drench, which is a good nutrient supplement for goats and sheep. I keep this on hand for anybody that's not looking too well, but it's good to give to the mama whenever she's laboring. And let's see here, gloves. You never know. If you have a mom that's having issues and having trouble delivering, you may need to go in and help. You're going to want gloves. You're also going to want just some plain old personal lubricant. And probably won't need this, but I do keep it just in case, is dental floss. Dental floss in case you needed to tie a cord off with. Thermometer. I have 3 of them for anything. I mean, if you've got a goat that's not looking well, if you've got babies and it's cold out and they're kind of not acting right, especially after they're born, and you're worried about the temperature and what their temp is, you need to take their temperature. Thermometer, thermometer, thermometer. Can't tell you how many times I've seen people online asking for help and they don't even have a simple thermometer. I have, this one is a mercury thermometer. It's a Vet's mercury thermometer. I also have 2 digital thermometers, and those are just for my animals. And then we also have 2 for humans. So those obviously stay separate. I also keep a small little tub of Vaseline for the thermometer to lubricate it before I check temperatures. Another thing that I have in here is Bosi. If you live in an area that is selenium deficient, you're gonna need this Bosi. You can pick it up at your vet's office. I think you can also order it online, but I do believe it is a prescription. What it is a selenium and vitamin E injection, and you typically will give the mother a dose about within the 30 days before kidding, and then within the first 2 to 3 days after kidding, you're going to give the babies 1/2 cc. That's for my goats. You might have to double check for something smaller, like maybe a Nigerian dwarf or a pygmy. You may need a little bit different dosaging, but that's to make sure that they get the selenium that they need, so that way their muscles can work properly because of the deficiency that we have in our area. And that is pretty much it. Another thing that I also, and I keep it on hand in the pantry, is molasses. And I usually make the mama a tub of molasses water. And I have, usually we have bananas in the house, and we can give the mama a banana. It just gives her a little bit of energy. One other thing you can also have is sometimes you can have where the calcium levels will go down and they can get really lethargic, and you may want to keep some of the calcium supplement on hand. But another thing that you can do, and I always have celery in the fridge, and celery is a good source. So you just blend it into a slurry, and then you can even add a little bit of Nutri-Drench to it or molasses, and then just draw it up in your drenching syringe and drench the goat if you think that they're having an issue with that. So those are a lot of the things that I have on hand for a goat, just the basics. I mean, you can get a lot more involved. You can get more elaborate in case you have issues. Most of the time, your goat's not going to have a problem. Most goats kid on their own. A lot of times, people aren't even there and you miss it. I was lucky enough to be there for my last one, and she really didn't have too much issue. She kidded really nice and easy and no real problems. So that's it for today. Y'all have a good one, and hopefully the next video will be babies.